Hello everyone, in this video we're going to discuss about constructors. So before you watch this video, please do watch the video on methods so that you can understand this topic clearly. So let's get started. Before we talk about what a constructor is and what are the different types of constructors, first of all we have a class called bike over here. So what are the properties of a bike? Well, you have CC, and the other property is the type of the bike. Well, what might be the type of the bike? Type of the bike is like there are different types of bikes: street naked bikes, cafe racers, adventure tourer, sports bike, cruisers. Depending on the needs, you have different types of bikes. So these are the two properties which we are considering right now. And what is the next thing we do? We create some methods: public, void. Let's put this public static void, and the first method is start. When you start the bike, you want some display message to be shown. So that message would be something like 3, 2, 1, go. So this is the display message you want the bike to be shown. Like you want the bike to show you. And let's create another method. And this method's name is petrol. When the bike has low fuel, this is the message that would be displayed. Let's say your bike has low fuel. I mean, no bike would display such a dumb message, but still, just consider this. So what we did here, we've created two basic methods. Now the next thing would be create an object and call these both methods. So bike, let's say KTM. The name of the object is KTM equals new bike. We've created the object and let's call them KTM dot, what is that? Start. And the other one is KTM dot petrol. Now, if we print this out, you could see this 3, 2, 1, go, and your bike is low fuel. Basically, whatever we mentioned in that particular method, that has just got printed out. There is nothing special in this. Now, while we have created this particular object, we have used a keyword called as new. What does this keyword new does? Like, what is the use of this keyword new? New is something which creates objects. So in this case, it creates new bikes. Now, instead like KTM, I can create as many objects as I want. Like I can create a Royal Enfield, I can create a Ducati, I can create a Harley Davidson, I can create as many objects as I want. So what this new keyword does is it creates new objects. And now let's understand what a constructor is. Constructor is something, you can see the word itself, constructor. So it constructs some things. It constructs something. So it constructs an object. Here what the new keyword is doing, it is constructing an object. So we could just say that this new bike, this thing which you could see, this is also a constructor. Now, you might have understood what a constructor is. Let's define a constructor. Defining a constructor is very simple. So this is a constructor. The first thing is the name of the constructor should be same as the name of the class, and everything else is like a method only. There is no big difference between a constructor and a method. And a constructor doesn't have a return type. You don't have any return type. You can't return anything, any value. So it is basically like void here. Void bike. You need not mention this void because it doesn't return anything anyways. Now let's print some message like this. This is a constructor. So if we print this out, see, I mean, when you run this program, you could see that this is a constructor. I mean, this got printed out. So by this, you can understand that whenever you create a new object, a default constructor is already created. Now you might think, before when we were creating some methods, we did not create, like before we have created a lot of objects, but we never created any sort of constructor. So how could you say that? See, now when I'll comment this out. Now if I run this program, you could see that still the code is running. You could see it is running still. How is it running? Because a default constructor will be created by the system itself. You need not create a constructor separately. A default constructor would be created. Something like this. A default constructor would look like, you don't have anything. Now this is a default constructor. There is nothing inside this. So this would be created automatically by the system, but you can't just see it every time. Now you might be wondering, why do we even have to create a constructor? Like, you can create methods and use them. Why are we even just talking about this constructor? However, the system is creating a default constructor, right? You don't have any need to create a constructor. Well, talking about the types of constructors, there are two types of constructors. One is the default constructor and the other one is the parameterized constructor. So the default constructor is something which doesn't have any parameters in them, and the parameterized constructor would have parameters. Like, you mention some parameters here and then you use those variables. Well, for example, when we are talking about this CC and the type of the bike, like you have to mention, for example, you need to mention the CC of the KTM bike and you need to mention the type of the KTM bike. So what do you normally do? You don't know, just forget constructors. What do you normally do? You create a method for CC and then you create a method for that type and then you call those methods, and that is how you normally do. But that is a bit lengthy. Okay, so why talk? I'll show you. So if you have to create CC public, let's put the return type as int and let's put the method name as new CC, and let's create a variable called as new CC. Now CC equals new CC. This is one method which we've created, and let's create another method for the type of the bike, public. Wait, we didn't return anything here, so return new CC. Now here public string, and let's say the method as new type, and the parameter is also new type. So type equals new type. Okay. Oh, sorry. Here it should be a string. By mistake mentioned it as int. So we are returning the new type variable, or you can return the type variable too, because both just give the same value. So we've created two methods, and the next thing would be we need to access these methods. So KTM dot new CC. This is the method's name. Let's say this bike has 350 cc, and the other one is KTM dot new type, and the type of the bike is street naked. We're considering a Duke street naked bike. Now if you print this out, you get the values 350 and street naked, But doesn't this seem lengthy? Like you created two methods and then you called those methods. This seems a bit lengthy. So how could you do the same with constructors? Let me remove this methods. New type, new CC. So we've removed these methods. Now simply what we're going to do here is we're going to set two parameters over here. One is CC and the other is type. Now what you do here, CC equals CC and type equals type. I mean, we are equating these variables and these variables. Okay, let me just change these names because that looks odd. Actually, I feel odd. CC equals new CC and type equals new type. So, again, I've made the same mistake. This is string. Okay, so yes, we have created a constructor here. Now let's call this. See, it is already showing an error here since we haven't mentioned those parameters. It has 350cc and it's a street naked bike. Now, if I run this program, nothing has got printed out because we haven't printed out anything. So now it is ktm dot new cc. No, ktm dot cc and this is out ktm dot type. Now when we run this program, you could see 350 street naked. These both got printed. Now you've created a constructor and you've set some parameters here. Now you can create as many objects as you want. Like you can create a Royal Enfield and you can set some parameters. You can create a Ducati, you can set some parameters. You can create like so many bikes and you can access anything you want. So that is the main purpose of a constructor. Like some things which are repeated so many times, even in a method, you can create a default constructor kind of thing. Like, for example, you have to, just leave this. If you have to print some sort of a welcome message, you need not mention that welcome message in every particular method you create. You need not mention that. So for that, what do? You just create a constructor and you just put that particular default message, and you can create as many methods as you want. And when you print that out, that particular default message would be shown always. So this is like, these are the sum of the uses which constructor has, and this is how it works.
Hope you clearly understood this topic. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. We'll meet in the next one.